morning and welcome back to News Center. Let's now change gears and speak on matters education and talent. So what does talent mean and how is it different from giftedness? To understand more about this, we have in studio a scholar and CEO of World Talent Federation, Professor Humphrey Oboro. Good morning and welcome to News Center this morning. So we are speaking about the professional and scientific assessment of talent. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, there are misconceptions about talent. If you talk about talent in Kenya, they talk about comedy, they talk about music, they talk about athletics, they talk about football. That is not talent.
That is not talent.
Those are just
music, the ability to sing.
Yeah, those are just examples.
So that is not a talent.
That's not talent. Talent is God-given, it's innate. And talent could be out of your natural scale of talent.
Right.
If I have your brain measurements known as brain dimetrics, and I have your human body measurement known as the quantum values, that's when I can talk about knowing who you are. Today, we talk about child development from conception to the time when the child is 4 years. During conception and during the pregnancy, a number of things do take place. At birth, prolonged labor, preterm birth, postpartum birth have got impacts on who you are. At the time you reach 4 years, what is child development means establishment of communication paths between main organs known as quantum points and sections of the brain here. This front lobe of the brain is divided into left and right, and there's a submembrane putting it up, upper and lower. Many of those communication paths terminate there. So your brain is just an interpreter of signals. For example, if you have a problem on your toe, the toe has cells which have got vibrational energy. If it has a supermolecule, meaning it doesn't have a simplified glucose to swallow to have the energy, it will send a signal to the brain and it must use the shortest path possible. That section, the brain will initiate another signal, say to the pancreas, to release insulin that goes to break that supermolecule.
Okay, so
now
it
that
is a lot
kind
of
of gangali, that kind of gangali, you don't need to care about that sense. That is what human is. And with that understanding, we have been having problems with our learning systems, with our societies. For example, let me ask you, Michelle, what is the business of me being a teacher, teaching a child that I do not know what that person will learn or what that person will never learn? It's like saying, Michelle, I'm going to the hospital or not going to the hospital when I have fever. Many of our Africans believe that if you are sick, like my father believes if you are sick, you must take Dawanol. So we are used to going to off the shelves of pharmacies, buy the medicine we think. By the time we get to hospital, our assumption of malaria might be confirmed to be pneumonia. That's the same thing we do with learning systems.
So what you're proposing is the scientific assessment of talent before any learning commences for students, or is it only done for children? Because we've seen a push and pull in the country between the 844 curriculum and a competency-based curriculum. How is that likely to impact the conversation in the competency-based curriculum?
Very good. Thank you very much indeed for this. I have seen Professor Magoha and NAT Secretary General Sossion pull apart in different ways. Many ways they are pulling apart for the common good reason. Yes, it is true we need to change how learners do work within the school systems. But look here, there is a big problem here. How do you know the learners? For example, you're talking about competence. How shall you know the competence of a 6-7-year-old? Shall we use naked eyes? If we have no means of knowing that, then what will be the results? The results will be the same as what we had before. Notwithstanding, we need to understand we're a developing country. A curriculum, number one, must have 3 ingredients. One, it must be simple. Michelle, it might be so simple that If I walked over to that, I saw this early morning, that guy was done a radio station. If I walked over to that family and I told them, the new curriculum I'm having is going to help a young man like this who can use primitive resources to set up a radio station. Then the village will understand. If you walked over to Tana River, do parents understand that this is something so simple that it's going to change their children to make them better? Two, is it affordable? You know, I am a parent in Africa, in a village. I'm selling my last piece of land in the belief that when I invest in my son or my daughter, at the end of the day, is going to get a great job, build for me a bigger house, and buy for me more land. You understand?
Right.
Right now, those many parents are very disillusioned. And if you hear the young people out there, they are telling you constantly, they did their part, their parents did their part. They went, they got the degrees. Where are the jobs? Government, give us jobs. They are very, very disillusioned.
Right.
Why are we having this problem? Michelle, at the time you were born, and at the time I was born, these were the same complaints. I was in another forum where we were talking about this. And the guys were saying, look here, me, I'm gifted upstairs. I'm gifted in my brain. I have studied. Hang on. How do you get gifted in your upstairs?
So let's discuss that, because
Yeah.
many young people have been
Yeah.
leaving universities and colleges, and
Yes.
jobs are not available.
Right.
Government's efforts don't really seem to be paying off in terms of employing all these youth. How do these talent-based methods that you propose, how can they help the unemployment situation as it stands?
Good. Number one, we need to know something about what the government tries to do. The government claims to be able to make jobs. Michelle, no government can make any job. Government can only facilitate these people by giving the right ingredients so that they create their own jobs. Youth will create their own jobs. No government can ever create any job. Let me give you an example. I gave this example somewhere else. Somebody came from Asia who's not very educated, but he knows that there are people who are very good in making furniture. So he sets up a facility called a supermarket for furniture. Who makes the furniture? Is the ordinary folks here, isn't it? Now that ordinary folk does not see the sense in it. He prefers to be a clerk wearing a tie, selling that furniture, instead of continuing to make the furniture become a big enterprise. Now you blame the government there. Go on Gong Road, off Gong Road. Go here, Sana Sana, near Nerkuo. You'll find great furniture. What is the government telling these young people? Fill the form to the youth fund, you know, follow this procedure and ABCD, and then we shall think of how to finance you. It means the government has no data. In fact, has no professional data. In fact, the government is telling you they have created now an employment authority. Do you know what they're doing there? You bring your CV, and then you put in a database. So we have a skills database, hogwash. Let me tell you, Michelle, we all went to university not because we liked that course, but because our villagers and our parents said we must get a degree.
All right.
You understand the mismatch? We have a serious mismatch.
Yeah, many
here.
Kenyans
Yes.
relate then. We don't have too much time. So let's talk about then those that are sitting at home and wondering, how then can I assess my talent scientifically and make more out of myself?
Very good. There are 3 quick steps. Takes 45 minutes. Number 1 is known as oral screening. Oral screening is to understand the human value between pregnancy and at birth, because many things do take place there. That's when the signals I was trying to explain, they shift and shaft. Then we have a second stage known as psycho screening, where we use an expert, just like doctors do. You meet the nurse first, then you meet the doctor. The doctor therefore will make a decision. I need to do an x-ray, I need a stool test, I need a blood test. And out of that, I will eliminate malaria. And now I'll confirm it is typhoid. Now, this is what we do in the final stage. We use a machine known as anthropobiometric machine. Anthropo means human, biometrics, you know.
Right.
Okay, what it does, it confirms to me your signal sequence between the brain and the rest of the body, the one I was calling the quantum points. When I look at that in front of me, and having looked at the prior oral and psycho screens, I can write for you what is your talent report. And out of a talent report, I can write your learning prescription. Now that changes the dynamics.
Hold on, because it all sounds very good, you know, Professor Bora, but how successful, what has your success rate been in assessing this talent, and how far have those who've gone, you've assessed, gone?
All right, I could only give you a few examples so that you can learn with. I have one called Godfrey Mwai. Godfrey Mwai was born without growth hormone, so that you understand autism and all these problems we are having.
Right.
This was caused by prolonged labor. You know, parents sold an apartment to make this young man grow, took him to the United States. After coming back, they realized if they send this child to the shop, he could not remember to come back. If you check our website, you'll get those videos and all those testimonials. Such a child would never exist in our learning systems. More so, the previous 844 and even the current CBC. You understand? Because you have no means of identifying his true potentials. You are hoping that by guesswork and use of the naked eyes, he will fit among the warus, the gunias, and produce chips just like everybody else. So we did a quick assessment, and we found him to have some level of usage of the right upper limbic of the brain. Now, I told you the front part is divided into 4. The right upper is called the volcanic brain, the brain of the musician, the artist, and all that, you know. After 4.5 years, he is able to take a matatu from South B, change in town, and come to our station, our base station in Gong Road, and back alone. Now, that you can't achieve by mere academics. Right now, he is playing music backstage and is about to join a big band. These are typical examples. We have another one, George, who was kicked out of school because he had vice of brandy, which he intended to enjoy with his friends for a birthday. But you know, when you're caught with alcohol, you are an animal, you're kicked out, both by the parents. This is the guy that you can sit down with. In exactly 10 minutes, he draws you as you are. He is the guy who designed those clothes for Jose Chameleon and the rest at Coke Studio. African Union was looking for a cultural ambassador. He didn't take his CV because, yes, his parents pushed him to get a Bachelor of Business degree, but what made him get that job was not the degree, but the fact that he has another potential. And right now, is the global culture ambassador for the youth in African Union. These are things that we cannot achieve by CBC. But I need to tell you something about CBC because it's really making me angry. What is the problem in Kenya? Is this the 6-7-year-old kids? Or is it the youth 18, 19, 20, 23-year-olds? You cannot pretend that you are going to demonstrate some failed education experiment to very young people, and you have no idea of even knowing their competence. Let us not be jokers here. Where is the new maths? Where is the new geography? Why are you publishing new books? Why are you consulting? This is a developing country. We cannot continue to do wrong things over and over again.
All right, we hear you, Professor Bora.
Yes.
Your final comments, because we are out of time. What would you propose to ministries that deal with the children and the youth? Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Youth, Ministry of Sports, which would essentially benefit from talent-based processes, as you mentioned?
If I were the President of the Republic of Kenya, I would think in 100 different ways and 100 years to come. And in this set, and for those ministry, number one, we need to install a national talent database. And I want to explain what that means. Don't go start saying all footballers come, we record you.
Very briefly, please.
Yeah. National talent base means after assessment, we put these ingredients in the database. Let me tell you a quick good thing that will do. You want to fund a band. A number of youth have come to Youth Fund. They say they're musicians. How are you going to know who are going to be band members if you don't know the individual talents? With the presence of a national talent database with those scientific values, you can be able at the click of a button to know the singers, the dancers, the bass guitars, and therefore you can even across the country form the band, and you will fund what will work, not what they're doing right now. Gather 10 guys, they look nice with some proposal which are forged from other guys, and then you fund them. If you think I'm wrong, show me the job creators out of the over 180,000 people that are funded.
Right.
Where are the job creators?
We hear you. That is Professor Humphrey Obora, I beg your pardon, from the World Talent Federation. He is the CEO of the World Talent Federation. They're talking to us about the meaning of talent and the importance of scientific and professional assessment of talent.